And welcome back to SA Sports Show. Ando and Costa, what do you think of the ring of that? Feels out the way. I think we've filled his shoes up beautifully today.
I know you've taken the lead, but I reckon Costa Anderson sounds better.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, I want to go over that, comparing your resume with Vicky Cardwell's. I'm not sure about that. You've got a very good resume, but when you look at Vicky's, she is an out-and-out just superstar. But we've got another very special guest from SA Cycling, Jason DeFoss. How are you going?
Good. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And cycling, it's all over Adelaide. It's all over Adelaide. I mean, of course, Tour Down Under was so successful, year after year, and we all want to be part of it. Our kids want to be part of it, but how do they go about it?
Yeah, so cycling is one of those sports where you get the negative feedback and you get the positive feedback, obviously from not everyone likes a cyclist, but it's one of those sports where it's one of the most popular things in the world. Like, we're coming up to the time where we've had Tour Down Under. That's the start of the season for the pros, and they're going into their one-day classics now in France and in Europe and all of that. And then we've got the Tour de France in July. So it's going to get more popular as the year goes on. At Cycling SA, we've got numerous ways that people can get into it, especially from a junior perspective. We cater from under 9s all the way up to under 19s, and then they move on to the under 23s and seniors and elites. We have a couple of programs. We've got the school series, which is run across Adelaide at multiple sites. So
because that's important, you've got to get it at that age.
Exactly.
Because it's not a school, school sport. So you've got to give that direction to say, well, you can go there, and that can be your sport.
Yeah. So
at your club.
Our school sport is one of the our school series is one of those programs where our biggest age gap is from under 9s all the way to under 13s. Like, that is our biggest number, like, in terms of participants. And after that, it's where it sort of thins out and the kids go up to the higher ranks and start racing at a higher level. So it's one of those ones, if we can get them in early, they go through that process and develop further and faster and quicker, basically.
Bike riding in general, like, you're talking BMX, you're talking downhill and everything, has become huge. When you say kids start at 9, if I wanted to get my 9-year-old to go out and do it, where does he start? Does he just come out with his BMX, or does he have to have a racer, or does he have to have what?
So with the school series, it's great. They basically can come. They don't even have to own a bike. Cycling SA bring bikes for kids to be able to use on the day, which is great. So we've got 20 plus bikes in a trailer that we take to each site, and kids can use it there and then. You can be on a BMX, you can be on a hybrid, you can be on a road bike, you can be on a mountain bike. You don't have to have a certain type of bike at this series, which is great. So this series is all about participation, fun, getting kids into cycling and teaching them the skills to be able to cope.
When you say cycling, like, you're talking cycling by racing, or just when you say have fun?
Yeah.
The kid on the BMX with the kid on the racer, he ain't going to have fun because he's going to be back here?
No, so we have two different sessions. So at the start of each session, we've got a skills-based part of it, and then we go into a race. So that race could be either a crit, so criterium, where we use the Victoria Park and we do loops, and depending on the age gap, they'll have different distances and timings on how long they can go for. Then we go into Belair National Park and we have like a 1K hill section where we get them to do a hill time trial. So it sort of can play to everyone's strengths. Obviously, with cycling, there's different roles on the team. So you can either be a domestique, you can be a hill specialist, you can be a sprinter. So it's sort of, we try and create this series to cater to all those different demands, really.
Because when you do get to that elite level, I mean, we hear about how expensive the bikes are, and that's in all elite sports. When you get to that level, you're paying, you're paying for the best equipment. So I suppose it is important that the kids can, go there and use one of your bikes in a helmet. See if they can actually, this is a sport for them, because you don't want to be outlaying, or parents' point of view, but all of a sudden, you have someone that's got a lot of potential. That's when it's a career, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got there's so much development going through the sport at the moment. Like, we've had in Term 4 last year, the school series, we had 3 of those kids been gone through the whole series and then got identified and now on our TID program. So they've started that process through the school series, not even owning a bike, loaning a bike.
Yep.
And then with 2 rounds to go, the parents are like, wow, he loves it. They bought him a bike and now he's on our TID program. So now he's at the velodrome training twice a week, developing the skills, and then you're in that system then, and obviously you boys know from the football sense, once you're in that system, the development then grows and grows and grows.
How much have you seen the sport change, especially with the obviously the Tour Down Under? I mean, you just see everyone's just gets involved. I mean, I know so many people that just take that week off work and they get on their bike, they they get their gear on, and all of a sudden they're professional cyclists for a week, and fantastic, and a lot of the kids are the same. I mean, the change must be incredible.
Yeah, the change is huge, and not only just in the men's side of it, just in the women's side of it. Like the women's tour in the Tour Down Under has just grown like from strength to strength. Like last year being on the World Tour stage, and then this year being again, but developing the tour, so it's getting more numbers, more spectators, actually being televised sometimes on TV, giving them more opportunities. Like it's a 50-50 split, like with our programs. Like we've got 50% males and females, so it's not gender.
Fantastic.
And that's with the benefit of cycling. You can be male, female, you can do whatever, really.
How do you actually get your message out there? Like we're talking about squash before, and it said, look, it's not in the school-based system. It's not in there. It's just it's not even talked about. Do you have programs that you go to schools, and do you use old past legends like the O'Grady's and so forth of SA to promote?
So at the moment we are actually developing that sort of school sports curriculum. So I'm actually going to Scotch College in a minute, like to go discuss with them and get that on their program. So it would be designed around the school series, but once a week we'll go into their school with coaches, some ergos, and set up a little session and train them basically for an hour a week, and then they'll go on the weekend and compete in the school series. So we are developing that process and getting it into the school's sports curriculum, because everyone can ride a bike once they get going. So if we can get out there into the schools and actually show them the benefits of cycling, the fun, the enjoyment, and competition. Everyone likes competition. It's just going to grow.
Has it grown? Like, have you, like the figures point of view? We can talk about all the special events that in South Australia. Obviously, our roads are really now, set up for cyclists to enjoy their travels to work or to train. The growth in the sport. Number-wise?
Yeah, participation is constantly growing, and that's the beauty of the sport, because it's exciting, because if participation keeps growing, you've got more opportunities to...
Is that in events, or are you talking just about participating just in general?
In both, really. In both. Like, so in our events in SA, and also just in a participation, like an everyday person on a Saturday or a Sunday, just getting on the bike, going down to Outer Harbour and back. So, like, you could talk to bike shops and they'll tell you, it's constantly growing. There's always that demand for bikes. So it's good to get it in at a junior level and really focusing on that. And that's why we're sort of developing this school series to sort of grow and enhance that. And when I say school series, it doesn't mean the school has to sign up for it. It just means that you get to represent your school, and then that school can actually get some benefits for that and get rewarded for your achievements.
Well, I know Jason, some people in the Port Adelaide area that have some bikes. If you
Port Adelaide, is that right? Is it? Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. I was brought up in Albion, so I know what you're talking about. Jason, thank you very much for coming in, and good luck with it all. It's a wonderful sport, and it's just it's going bull of the gate really. So congratulations, and hopefully we're going to have more and more world champions from South Australia, in Olympics and World Championships and all that sort of stuff. So well done.
Thanks for having me.
Kimmy, we'll talk about that a bit more about where bikes are, Albert and Oval. But anyway, we'll be back shortly.